Good morning. You're watching Inside Texoma. I'm Kaylee Pfeifferling. On this episode, we're talking everything Hotter in Hell 100. The date is getting closer. Julie Ayers, a public information officer with Hotter in Hell 100, joins us this morning. Julie, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
As the date gets closer, how are you guys doing on preparing for the big day?
Well, honestly, this is our 35th year, so this really runs, knock on wood, like a well-oiled machine. There are over 100 people on our steering committee, all volunteers, and it's going very smoothly. I mean, we're ahead of registration from years past, about 27%. So we're looking forward to a record year.
Sounds good. And you said 35 years. This booklet goes out to past participants, right?
That's correct.
And this is kind of like a 35th year edition pack, and it's got all the information you need on in it. It's got a lot of information on host homes and a map and all that kind of stuff. Are you guys changing anything this year? Anything different going to be this year than last year or years past?
We just, the biggest thing that we've changed or added is what's called the Golden Wheel package. So if you prefer the more VIP status experience for the Hotter in Hell, you can sign up for the Golden Wheel.
Okay.
It is concierge service for your packet pickup and special place to start.
Oh.
Because if you've ever been out there on the morning of Hotter in Hell, it is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, 13,000 plus people participating, not to mention their support systems and things of that nature. So, but this does offer some exclusivity. If you choose to participate, it costs a little more, but some people definitely feel that it's worth it, and we definitely think it's going to be a cool first trial at that to see if it's something that people will enjoy.
Yeah, is that kind of the reason why you guys decided to do this new thing, is because so many people have been signing up throughout the years and the enrollment is getting bigger and bigger?
Well, yes, I mean, this is our 35th year, so that's kind of a big, monumental year. 35 years for any event is crazy to think of, but for Wichita Falls, it is the largest event that we do, and it brings the most people and the most money to our community. So we just wanted to give people that option. People who have ridden it year after year after year, they might want to say, now I'm a VIP and I get to start in front, regardless of what their pace is.
Yeah,
so,
try something a little bit different this year.
Right.
Let me ask you, now that since we're out of the drought, are you guys going about water differently this year?
Not necessarily. We're still very conscious of conservation. We know that we could easily get back in that situation, so we're still, a lot of the things that we put in place over the last few years, we're maintaining. It's some of the processes and definitely being mindful of being conservative and not wasteful.
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt.
Yes.
Okay, so let's kind of talk about the facts here. When should people sign up? Is there a deadline?
Well, there is a deadline, but there's always late registration.
Okay.
So the race is on Saturday. Our off-road races are on Friday. Packet pickup and late registration starts on Thursday. Actual online registration will stop the week before.
Okay.
But you can always come and do late registration.
That's always nice. Is online registration open now?
It is, absolutely,
okay.
yes.
And you've already got people registering and signing up?
Yes, almost 4,000 already.
Wow.
Yes, so we're, again, looking at a record year. So.
Yeah, and host homes, how are you guys doing with that so far? People signing up for those too?
Absolutely, and what's crazy about host homes is that it's really difficult to gauge how many host homes we really have, because there have been people who have been welcoming the same bikers / friends back year after year after year, and we don't require them to check in with us for any reason. But so our guesstimate is that we've got a couple of thousand probably out there. We had about 150 new ones last year. We can use as many as want to participate, because we all know that our short-term housing in Wichita Falls isn't ideal, especially for 20,000+ people.
Yeah, those hotels fill up fast.
Yes.
What should people know if they're thinking about becoming a host home?
Well, just know that it's not a cookie-cutter process. You don't have to have an extra bedroom and be ready to prepare breakfast and entertain them. It can be anything. It can be a travel trailer that you're not using that's sitting in your driveway. It can be space on the floor for pallets and things of that nature. So it really is just whatever you have to offer and whatever your comfort level is. So don't let it scare you if you don't want to be a bed and breakfast.
Right. And these bikers will pretty much sleep wherever they can.
Absolutely.
They're just looking for someplace to lay their head at
Absolutely.
night. Anything else that you kind of want to talk about as far as host homes, registering, anything like that?
Well, volunteers, that's
Yes.
always a big thing because this event is run by volunteers, 4,000 plus volunteers it takes to put on this particular event. It is extremely rewarding. And we have air-conditioned opportunities, so don't be afraid.
Right.
If you don't want to stand the heat, we'll find a place for you with air conditioning. But yes, please do come out and volunteer, be a part of the energy. It's always fun. We have people even that are out on race day in what we call the sag wagons. So people who decide they're done at about 50 miles in. We have trailers that go out and get them, bring their bikes back safely. So we still need more sag wagons. So if you have a truck and a trailer and you want to come out and experience the day, then please do let us know.
Yeah, the excitement is already building for the big day, which I don't even think we said the date this year that it's going to be. August
27th.
August
Saturday,
20th.
August 27th.
Okay, the
Yes.
date is getting closer. More people, more cyclists are out training. I've seen them out there. I'm sure you've seen them out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about cyclist safety, bicycling safety coming up, a very big thing to keep in mind. Even if you're not on a bike and you're driving, you still need to be on the lookout for those cyclists. I know this is something that you guys talk about year after year.
Absolutely, we do. We just want to make sure that everybody stays safe. So just be aware.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for those cyclists. Know that they're going to be out in larger numbers. And make sure that when you're on the bike paths, not just on the roads, that you are being aware of the cyclists around you.
And we are going to talk with Danny Foy coming up after the break. He is a man here in Wichita Falls who was training for the Hotter in Hell last year. He actually got hit while he was on his bicycle. We're going to hear about him and his recovery process after this. Julie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. We are talking about Hotter in Hell, and while it can be challenging, fun experience, it can also be dangerous for some. Danny Foy joins me now. He got into a scary experience last year. Danny, tell us a little bit about what happened.
We were training for Hotter in Hell. It was August 9th, 3 weeks before Hotter in Hell, and had already gone about probably 700-800 miles practicing. And wanted to really get in a good long 60-80 mile an hour ride, mile an hour, but a mile ride total. And so we got up early, started out 6 o'clock on Sunday morning. It's going to be real hot that day, so we wanted to start early, do it Sunday morning where there's not a lot of traffic. So we take off from Lakeside City and went down 1954 to Sisk Road and got hit from behind, a lady going somewhere between 55 and 60. She hit me. I went in the air 12, 15 feet high and about 80, 90 feet, hit the ground and rolled. I was clipped into my bicycle and did a lot of damage on my feet.
Yeah, we see some of these pictures here of your recovery and the bike up here. I mean, it looks like the bike itself was just torn into pieces.
Yes.
I can imagine your condition after that, just seeing the bike, and this was the vehicle that hit you. Did she just not see you?
She didn't see me. She thought it was a bicycle, not a bicycle. She thought that it was a dog or a deer that ran into her.
Oh, okay.
It was just an accident.
Yeah. Do you remember when it happened, or do you?
Oh yeah.
You do?
I'll never forget it.
Yeah. What was going through your mind when you got hit? I mean, did you think?
Funny enough, we were going to do a 60, 80 mile an hour ride. I was riding with a friend, and we were going to go to the Jimmy's Egg for breakfast. And when I got hit, I'm laying on the ground, and I'm like, man, this is going to make me late for breakfast. I sprained my ankle or something. I remember getting hit. I heard the explosion of the tire. I remember the surreal silence going through the air. I remember I was clipped into the bike, so when I hit the ground, I was still on the bike, and it came loose. Is what probably did the damage, but probably saved my life. And then there's all kinds of noise, and I was rolling and didn't think that would ever going to stop. It was almost like deja vu, like it happened before or something.
Yeah.
But finally stopped. I rested on my back. The man that was riding with me was back probably 120 feet back before me. The lady that hit me was about that far in front of me, and they were both screaming, coming toward me. My friend just thought I was dead. He saw me tumbling through the sky, and he just knew that when I hit the ground, or before I hit the ground, I was going to be dead. And the lady come out, she was frantic. I really felt bad for her. They came to me. By the time they got there, I kind of sat up and kind of dusted off my shoes, helmet, and my backpack came off during the ride. The helmet came off on impact.
Oh, okay.
And I learned that I need to keep it a little bit tighter. Backpack came off somewhere in the ride, and then when I hit the ground, I was still clipped into the bicycle, so that I bounced around enough to get that loose, and then the bike went all kinds of different directions.
Okay. And I'm sure, obviously this isn't your first time riding a bike and training, but have you ever had any other close calls before?
I really haven't. I mean, the closest calls I've had have been on the trail, which is kind of ironic because that's probably the safest place to ride. But there's a lot of pedestrian traffic and a lot of kids and dogs and people running wild, and there's not really a good system besides just yelling out that you're going to pass to the left or right.
Yeah.
Not a good way of really contacting them. And a lot of them aren't listening. They have headsets on, and so I've had more near hits and misses than on the trail than I have on the road.
Okay. And I have some numbers here that I thought were really eye-opening. In 2014, officials say 21,287 cyclists were injured in reported road accidents, 3,500 of which were killed or seriously injured. And Danny actually isn't the only person here in this area that's been hit by a car while they're on their bicycle. I feel like we hear this several times throughout the year, especially as people are out on the roads training for Hotter than Hell as we get closer to that date. And I noticed you have this shirt on, and I noticed this shirt right here. Well, tell me a little bit about this shirt. Does this have some significance, some meaning to it?
It was given to me from a friend, and yes, it does have. I think I was spared for a reason. I think I have some work to do. Good Lord save me. There's no way I should have survived. I mean, so many good things happened. I wasn't hit by a 1-ton truck with a cattle bumper on the front of it. I was hit by a small car. I didn't hit the road when I came down. I hit the side of the ditch. I went over a big culvert, and it all ended up, and I think this was just an eye-opener for me that to go out and try to help do whatever I can to be a better person.
And amazingly, you're back on the bike. You're training for this year's Hotter than Hell, and it's not even a year after this accident.
I started January 24th. I took my first ride on a bike, went 28 miles plus, and then been training ever since. And a little over 900 miles now training for the Hotter than Hell this year, and I'll have another 300 or 400 before Hotter than Hell.
How was it getting back on that bike? Was it scary? Is it scary while you're out training on the roads?
No, not.
No?
There's have no fear. When I got on the bike at first, my legs were really stiff, and it was cumbersome. I could hardly break out of the clips. But as I've been going more and more, it's almost like normal now.
Yeah, like riding a bike, you know?
Yeah, just get back on the bike.
Before we go, is there anything that you want to tell to other people out there training for this year's Hotter than Hell? Anything that you learned from this that really sticks out to you?
Well, just be more aware. I mean, now my awareness is so acute. I'll see a squirrel crossing the path 200 yards up, you know. I mean, really looking out, not scared, but just really, really be aware of what's going on around you, because especially like on the trails, these little kids, man, they cut out in front of you, the dogs and stuff, and it's just a lot of little things. But on the road, I mean, everyone needs to pay more attention on the road, keep lit up real well, and always ride with somebody, I would say.
Yeah, and this is a sobering reminder and a sobering fact here, just looking at these pictures, to take every precaution while you're out there on the road, and don't think that it can't happen to you, because it certainly could. All right, Danny, thanks for joining us this morning. Thanks for telling us your story.
Thank you.
More Hotter than Hell 100 coverage after this. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. Mark Penson, owner of Endurance House, joins us now. Mark, Endurance House is fairly new to the area. Tell us a little bit about what you guys specialize in.
We specialize in general fitness equipment. We're branded as a triathlon store, but we're much more than that. We have a shoe side where we sell athletic shoes for running, walking, and what we do is we have a system called the PMP. We put you on a treadmill, we shoot you with an iPad, and the software analyzes how your foot strikes the ground, and then from there we put you in the right pair of shoes. On the other side, we have a full bike shop. We house about 60 bikes in stock, have a full-time mechanic, and then we have swimming gear, which fits into the triathlon, where we have swimsuits, we have anything that has to do with swimming and triathlons, and goggles and training equipment for the water.
Right, a lot of sports equipment. Right. And I'm sure you guys probably see an uptick in customers, especially cyclists, this time of year as we're getting closer to Hot and Hell.
Absolutely. Right now we're getting about 10 bikes a day for general maintenance for the Hot and Hell. We've actually hired a couple extra mechanics to help us out so we can get those bikes out the next day.
Okay, perfect. And we were actually just talking about Danny Foy, who you saw earlier, the cyclist who survived that horrible accident. Yeah. He's one of y'all's customers. Absolutely. You guys have fit him or are fitting him for a bike.
Absolutely. We fit him when he first bought the bike. We fit him the first time. And how much he's progressed is unbelievable. He got refit yesterday. And so as he progresses and his body gets more flexible and he gets stronger, the adjustments on his bike have to be adjusted to make him more comfortable.
Right, sure. And is that something that you do with other customers as well, kind of fit them for their specific needs?
Absolutely. We have a system, it's a Guru fitting system. It's a motorized bike that fits you where it needs to, where your body's most comfortable, whether it be your seat higher or your handlebars lower. We can custom fit the bike to you.
Do you find a lot of first-time cyclists are coming in, or
Absolutely.
more trained?
Right now, in the last couple months, we have so many new cyclists are coming in to experience, and that's normal for this time of year. As Hotter and Hell gets closer, people are wanting to get into bicycles. They're wanting to get fit, and no better place to do it than Hotter and Hell.
Yeah, and you said you've done the race before. How important is it to have good gear when training?
We can't stress this enough. The most important gear that you can get is cycling shorts. It seems like almost every day someone's wanting to come in and get a new saddle, which is the seat. And the first thing we ask them is, what kind of shorts do you have? So it's imperative that, especially if you're going to ride the Hotter and Hell, that you get a good bike shorts.
Okay.
With a good padding and.
Right. Something to keep in mind, definitely. Right. And you guys have some clinics coming up as well?
Absolutely. We have a special guest that's been at the Hotter and Hell pretty much since Hotter and Hell began. Bike and Mike trains people for the Hotter and Hell. He's from the Metroplex, has a training business for cycling. He'll be here July 18th from 6 to 8, and he will be doing a clinic on how to prepare to finish the Hotter and Hell. That'll be at Endurance House, and with that, it's like $24.95.
Okay.
We're just housing him. He brings all his training pamphlets and stuff, and he tells me that after his training that he'll give everybody a PDF file of all the training they need to do.
Okay.
He will work with them about their nutrition, their hydration, how to train to finish the Hotter and Hell 100.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than starting it and not finishing it.
Absolutely. Finishing 100 miles, it's not just training and riding your bike. There's so much preparation that needs to be done.
Right.
Like we talked about, nutrition, hydration, putting your body through the heat, before that moment.
Yeah. So now, do people need to sign up ahead of time for that clinic?
Absolutely. We have a link on our Facebook page, Endurance House Wichita Falls, and then you can come in and sign up for it also. We're going to limit it to around 30 people. Bike and Mike's been doing this for years, and it's always been a full house.
Okay.
This year he has decided to do it, in our store. So we're going to move everything out of the way and give him,
full range.
Full range of the shop, and
and therefore he can go through all the nutrition and go through everything in the store that people need, and they can see it firsthand instead of just hearing about it.
Okay, and as we get closer to the big date coming up next month, are you guys going to be offering any more clinics or things like that?
Absolutely. We have a really neat deal sponsored by Endurance House in Pearl Izumi. On July 26th, we have a free clinic for women only. And we have Megan Stiles and Reagan Foster, two of our more experienced lady cyclists, and they will be putting on a small clinic just for women. So if women have those questions they need to do, hydration, Vicki Donahue will be there. She's a nutritionist, and she will talk about the hydration and stuff. And like we said, it'll just be women, women teachers. And then right after the little clinic, they'll go for a short bike ride and talk about any of the questions they had for first-time ladies that want to get into the cycling.
Okay.
And then Pearl Izumi has some nice gifts for
Yeah.
people during the clinic. And then the next day, on July 27th, we'll have a small clinic at Endurance House about how to change your flat tires. This will be open to anybody. All these clinics that we sponsor ourselves, the July 26th, 27th, and August 2nd, they're all free.
Okay.
Anybody can come, even if you're not even going to ride to Hotter and Hill and you want to learn how to change a flat tire on your bicycle.
Right.
We do these clinics every once in a while, but we're going to ramp that up as we get closer for the new people wanting to do the Hotter and Hill.
Sure.
And everybody that shows up will get to actually change a flat tire.
Okay.
Down to do it themselves, inflate the tire with your actuator,
Yeah.
all of it. So they'll
That'll be
be able
good.
to hands-on do it, and which is really important. Flat tires are a big nuisance at Hotter and Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of stuff that the Endurance House is offering as we get closer to that big date. Again, not just for Hotter and Hill riders, for any cyclists, really. And check out y'all's Facebook page, correct? If you guys have any
All this
questions.
information's on Endurance House Wichita Falls on the Facebook. If you want to get emails, we send out emails probably once a week. You can sign up on our website, endurancehousewithstafalls.com, to receive emails for all these also.
Okay, and stop by Endurance House if you haven't been in there. They got a lot to offer. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Inside Texoma. I'm Kaylee Pfeifferling. The Hotter and Hell 100 is quickly approaching. It's being held on August 27th, and while that's still a little more than a month away, organizers and bicyclists are already preparing. And as we've already heard earlier in the show, it takes a lot to prepare. We spoke with Hotter and Hell Medical Director Dr. Keith Williamson just before last year's race, and he said it was and still is one of the best managed medical rides in the nation.
We'll have around 40 to 50 physicians working, several hundred nurses, hospital employees, including pharmacy techs, respiratory therapists, all the allied health professionals. We're all going to work together.
And as thousands of cyclists are now training, looking forward to crossing the finish line in the 100-mile race, water is obviously very important. The race is in the dead of summer, and riders will need to hydrate, but not too much. As Dr. Williamson explains, too much water could be a problem.
You see an athlete working hard in the heat and sweating and they're tired. Drink, 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 drink up. Well, in fact, it turns out that historically we've overemphasized that to the point that the most severe illness we see at the Hotter Than Hell 100 is water intoxication.
Definitely a good thing for riders to keep in mind. And again, there will be plenty of doctors and medical professionals on hand the day of the big race, making sure all riders are staying safe. So along with drinking the correct amount of water, cyclists need to make sure they're maintaining a healthy weight while training. Here's a list of foods that are high on water content: peaches, pears, watermelon, salmon, broccoli, and spinach, just to name a few. So think about those foods while you're training. And don't take the heat for granted. Medical professionals say the heat can not only affect your body, but also how you ride. So don't push it out there while you're training. You can't be fast all day in this heat. From Hotter and Hell preps to rider safety to health and nutrition, there's a lot to keep in mind as you prepare for the big day. So after all this information we've given you today, how about hearing from some of last year's contestants to get you pumped up? Here's some contestants from Kansas and Lawton right before they started the race last year.
Kind of excited. This was kind of my big gauntlet to achieve. So I set the goal to do the 100 miles, and of course I picked one of the harder ones in the south because of the heat and the elements. It's so fun. There are so many people. It's got great energy.
Unbelievable. And how do you not want to be part of something so epic?
We wish all Hotter Than Hell 100 riders the best of luck during their training. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Inside Texoma. We'll see you back here next week. Have a great Sunday.